So if you haven't heard of an expansion trainer before, you're missing out, because this is what it is, and it's a super simple device which can really help you improve your release, and I'm going to show you how you can make it and how you can use it. Now, this device is essentially just a feedback tool, and we'll get to that in a minute, but first of all is how you can make it. Now, this is a little bit of a fancy one that someone made for me, but essentially it's just made from a stiff bit of material. This is a bit of an old arrow. You can use an aluminium old arrow, bit of an old carbon arrow. You can use maybe a biro, like a pen. You can use a pencil. All you need is something solid that you can then put into the crease of your arm, and then you can use the feedback from that during your shot. So it just needs to fit in the crease of your arm, and the thickness of this piece does depend on the person. If you've got bigger arms, then you might not need such a large piece of material. If you've got smaller arms, you might want it a bit wider. So it just depends. This one is good for me, and all that you then need other than that is just some material to attach it to your arm. So you just put this on, and the stick part of it goes into the crease of your elbow like that, and then you just use the elastics to position it in between the elbow joint, and then it's just fixed there, and then you can use it during your shot. What I've done before to make one of these is just use an aluminium arrow, cut it down, deburr the edges, put some elastic from like an old bracing gauge, not a bracing gauge, sorry, from a arm guard. Use the old elastic from an arm guard, put it in the arrow, tie it together, and then you're done, and that's it. So it's super simple to make, and then the next bit is how you're actually going to use it. Now, what you can use it for is to squeeze down on the stiff piece of material, on the stick part of this. You squeeze that part during the shot. So you put it into the elbow, and if you haven't made the device as well, maybe you can just get your coach or an archer to put like a pencil in your arm, and it will hold there while you're at this part of your shot. It will fall out when you're here, but it will hold at that part of your shot. So simply during the shot, as the angle closes down between your lower and upper arm, as you come into your anchor position and full draw, you'll feel the squeeze of your arm onto the device, and it will give you feedback as to how much you're squeezing. And very simply, you just focus on this squeezing sensation and increase the pressure through the shot, and it will help you direct the elbow around the body through the expansion and improve the direction that you're moving. So you just come in, and as I'm coming in here, I can feel the squeeze on the device increasing, and as I come into full draw, if I then expand around, I can feel that it's squeezing, and then I shoot and I can feel it squeeze even more once I shoot and release. So very simply, that is what you do with the device. Now, the reason it works is because if you were to do the wrong expansion, so let me show you with an example. If I were to come up and then I was to expand away from the body, I wasn't coming round the body, I was maybe expanding away and down maybe. If I was to do that, I would come in, and then the squeeze on this wouldn't increase. So if I was to expand in the wrong way, I was to lose the direction or lose the expansion, the squeeze wouldn't increase. So by making sure that you focus on increasing the squeeze as you expand, it will ensure that you're expanding around the body and keeping the direction through your shot as well. So that's why it works and why it's a super useful tool. So one thing to note is that if you're doing this exercise and it's too painful and it's really quite, it feels sharp or painful in the joint, then it could be one of two things. The actual size of the stick part could be too large, so you need to make sure that the size is correct for your arm size and body size and everything. But also, if you're pulling it too tightly, for instance, if you've got some fasteners and they're really pulling it into the elbow really hard, or you're just using string instead of elastic or something, then that can make it feel quite aggressive. So just rein it back a little bit there. And obviously don't use like a really thick indoor arrow, like a 2315 or something, because that's going to be really thick and it's going to be too wide, obviously. So you want a relatively small diameter arrow, something around the diameter of a pencil or a biro or a Bic pen or something like that is a good starting point. And it shouldn't feel overly painful. It should just give you feedback on what you're doing. So how do you use it in training? It's pretty simple, really. With this example, with this device, it's great because you can use it wherever you are, whenever you're shooting. You don't need a coach to put the device in your elbow. You don't need an archer to hold it there. And it's a great way to improve your shot. You literally need nothing. You don't need any video feedback. You don't need any cameras, phones, stuff like that. So other feedback with a phone is great, but this is perhaps the simplest and most effective feedback that anyone can get, because pretty much anyone around the world can make something that works the same way as this, and you don't need fancy equipment, you don't need a coach. You can just put it in your elbow. And then a great way to use this is to simply shoot, start at blank boss and then work to distance later on. But you can just shoot an end, and as you're shooting, you focus on the squeezing I said about, and you focus on that feeling as you come in, expand and shoot. And you simply do that. You shoot that for an end, and then you take it off, and the next end you shoot without it, and just alternate the ends like this. By doing that, you'll get a nice comparison of the feeling, and it will teach you what you're doing without the device as well, and you'll see if there's any difference. You'll see maybe if you're losing the expansion direction, you'll see how it's helping you, and over time you'll increase the amount of movement and also the consistency of the movement you're doing. So that's a really simple, really great way to use it. So you might wonder if you can use this at distance, at 70 meters with a target face, and absolutely you can. So it's great for that as well, great for increasing the expansion that you're doing, improving that direction. Interestingly, this device is so effective that it's actually banned from competition. So you can't use this in a competition. It's basically a feedback tool which gives you some information on how you're doing in terms of giving you some biofeedback, which is not allowed. I think there was an archer that used this at one of the World Cups a few years back, and I think they shot it on the finals field, and following that, I think maybe there was an appeal or something, and basically the ruling had to be clarified to basically make sure that no one uses something like this anymore. So that's how useful this device is. It's definitely useful because it's been banned from competition. So use it in your training. It really is useful. Take that as a hint to how useful this can be, and really make the most of it in your training. So now I'm just going to quickly show you what this would look like when you use this with your bow. So I'll just grab the bow and then just do some simple draw ups just to show you how this looks. So you'd simply, everything is normal, you come up and you raise and you come to full draw, and then as I'm about here, at this position, as I'm coming into anchor, I can feel it really starting to squeeze down now on the device, and then this will increase as I come in and get to expansion and shoot the shot. So as I come in here, I can feel the device squeezing down, and as I'm doing this, it's helping me direct the elbow around the body, and then I get into full draw to anchor position, and then as I expand, I can really squeeze down, and it just helps me get that expansion direction around the body, and then on release. Obviously I'm not going to release without an arrow, but you get the idea, and it's a really, really great tool to use for that. Now this is actually quite similar to the arrow behind the elbow drill, where you just get an archer or a coach to place an arrow behind the elbow and push against your arm, and then use that as feedback when you're expanding. But the beauty of this one is you don't need anyone there to hold it. You don't need anyone to, help you while you're training. You can do this whenever you want. You can use it at a competition in the warm-up, in terms of if you were to shoot blank boss in the morning, maybe at home or something before you warm up, or if there's practice targets or something like that separate to the main field, then you could use this as a warm-up device and basically use it to improve how you get ready for competition. So what I definitely encourage you to do following this video is A, make your own device, B, share it with other people and show them how they can use the device as well, because it's really, really useful. And then C, I would love you to let me know in the comments below how the device has helped, and maybe if you've even scored a round with the device and without the device. I'd love to see in the comments whether there was a difference in the score or not, if you found it helped or not. I'd love to see in the comments below, so let me know for that. Finally, another thing you can use this for is in your bow training. Specifically, if you've got full draw holds where you're trying to expand a little bit at the same time rather than just holding, maybe you've got some expansion through the clicker drills, stuff like that, you can use this in your arm still while you're doing the drill, just to improve that direction, improve the feeling, and improve the motion as well. So it's not only great for shooting, it's great for your drills as well, just to really ingrain that movement and give you that biofeedback as well. So that's been a brief overview of the arrow in the elbow device. I hope A, you found this useful, but most importantly, I hope you go ahead and make your own device and share it with other people as well so that they can feel the benefit that this really can bring. Please, please, please use the device in your training and let me know in the comments how much it's helped and whether you find the feedback useful. As always, be sure to smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'll put the links to social media down below. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.